about how does co-production work, how did you get involved, how did you find this script, how did you find other partners, etc.
Yes, well, basically I met with Shuchi in 2018 at the Goa Film Bazaar, and I read the script, and Shuchi had already written a beautiful draft, and I read it and I said, I'll come on board, and I was so happy they interested me with Richard. And yes, I started to work with Shuchi on the creative development. I helped her a little bit finish the post-production of her last short film called The Period Piece. And then little by little, lab with lab, we ended up, getting a first grant from France, CNC, and then we got other financing partners along the way. And basically the grant system in France work. You have to do some part of the film in France, so usually the post-production. So we were extremely happy to find an editor who was born and raised in India but lived in France, Amrita David. Yes, and we did the whole post-production in France, basically, like collaborating sound, etc.
So was there a big change from the script that you first read to how it finally, does this process of going through and finding producers, etc., is there a big change in the script that happened?
I would say not that much. Of course, some element changes, but Shuchi had a really clear vision of what she wanted to do, and she had already, had time to mature her vision, and she, really is someone with a wonderful eye, and I was there to help her, make her project come to life.
Priti, how is it for you? You're a budding filmmaker, actor. How did you get onto this project? How did you meet Shuchi? What was that process?
I'm sorry, but I've answered this question quite a few times.
No, I'm sorry.
So, can I take the opportunity to invite our casting director?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I'll let him answer this question. We're so fortunate that he found us, and we started our journey in the
great
acting.
Shankar.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I'll make the question much broader. How does a casting director work? She came to you with a script, and do you have a slate of people? So do all these people apply to you quickly with photographs? Or how does it work? And how did you sort of think that she fitted with?
So first things first, Shuchi is so clear. I agree with Claire. She's very, very clear in the way she writes and the way she mounts. So the first time I met her I had read the script already and I had liked it and accepted it, and Richard spoke to me. So that was already familiar, but I wasn't very sure how we would go about it. And actually, it was such a relief when she said, I'm not looking for stars, I would like you to find, which is the way I like to work. I don't keep a bank of actors, actually. Which is strange of course, actors write to me, I have them in my bank, but I really like to search. And that's what we did. We spread the word, we went out, whoever we knew we reached out to, but there were people who were writing to us blind. And we were auditioning, and again, Shuchi is so meticulous. Normally directors take weeks to respond. But Shuchi would literally, I would post, we had a system, so I would post auditions to her, and she would reply. So very soon we had sort of shortlists. We started testing in person, and by the time we zeroed in on these two, the question was, who's going to be the mother? And actually, Kani, from day one, was in our list, not for the mother, but for the role of the headmistress. And Kani had sort of accepted that she would play that role. And as we were casting and as we really met some of the best actresses of this country, it's a very delicate role to play. It's a very tough role to play because even though the response today was a lot of the laughter was coming out of, but the mother's intention is to keep them, and there's nothing more. And that was a question, I mean, when you read the script also, of course, it's all there and it's intended to be like that, but when I asked Shuchi, what is it that you really want? It was this very delicate, fine space of loneliness and search, but not in any other way. And so when we finally put mother and daughter together, and actually Kesh, the three of them together in a room, it just clicked. We had a lot of opposition because Preeti and Kani don't look alike. But we just stood our guns, we made it work. Jitin joined the cast as the father, and it's on. So that's the whole story.
Lovely. Tell us about the audition. What was the audition like?
I'm so glad he's here to speak about the casting process. I heard something different for the first time. But I just finished my graduation and I was also auditioning. And one of my friends, her name is Ria, she was working as an intern with a friend of yours. And she gave me this casting call and she said, they're looking for a girl who looks like a 16-year-old but should be 18 years above age. So I said, okay, and just give an introduction, what kind of a student were you in school, and yeah. So I recorded my introduction, I tried to make it fun, and I sent it to her. Within a few days, she responded that they liked you, I'm sending you 2 parts of the script, so self-test it and go for it. So I put the camera in front of me, I recorded his dialogues in my voice, Anila's dialogues in my voice, and within the gaps I did my performance. And I sent it to them, and they were really quick to respond. And then she said, Dilip sir liked. Honestly, initially I thought this was your directorial. I was like, okay, Dilip sir is making a film, and I'm auditioning for that. So she responded that Dilip sir is going to get in touch with you. And then one day I was in my kitchen trying to make an omelette, and I see a message from Dilip sir. He's like, hi, I'm Dilip Shankar, and I'm reaching out to you regarding a project. What would be the right time to talk? And then I was supposed to get into the metro, so I just like, can we get on a call at 11? So I'm sitting in the Delhi metro on a call with him, and he's like, Preeti, how independent are you? And I'm like, I am fairly independent. And he's like, no, but let me tell you, have you seen Shuchi's work before? I said, no. Well, I'm inviting you to read the script first. Which is great, honestly, because we don't get to read scripts first, and he let me take the call if you want to do the project or not. So he sent me the script. He said, there will be suggestive love, and there will be some acts of sexuality. I just want to understand how independent you are. And I was like, yes, I'm independent and everything, and I cut the call, and I'm like, shit. I have to put this through my parents. I have to tell them that there's a film. They want me as the lead, but I also will have to have sex on screen. So, but I immediately got out of the metro. I called my sister, and I knew she was going to support me, so I had one person back me up. And then I got the script. I read it, and I was like, my mom, how will I talk to her? And then my mom and I had a discussion about it, which I feel was a great gift from this film, because we don't talk about sex at home, and we had a dialogue about sex, and I'm like, listen, I know you're worried that I'll have sex on screen, but you should be worried about me having sex in real life, because one day I'm going to have it, and if something goes wrong, I want you to be by my side. So if something like this is happening, you should be happy about it. And yeah, she got on board. Then we 3 women were against our father, and we kind of told him, like, I was pushing my mom, please bata do unko about something, tell him, give him some ideas. And my mom was like, there will be some scenes. And then my father was like, okay, but academics में तो कोई problem नहीं है ना, पढ़ाई तो हो जाएगी ना, she'll not miss her classes or anything. So yeah, I said yeah, पढ़ाई में कोई problem नहीं होगी. I went to Bombay. We did a couple of chemistry tests. This is where I met him for the first time, and he's such a warm person. We were meeting for the first time. He's like, listen. What if things work out and we are actually in this film? Let's take a selfie to commemorate it. And we took an iconic selfie and we met Kani, and I was really starstruck when I saw her. I was just shivering when I saw her, and she's like, what's wrong with this girl? Why is she shaking while looking at me? So yeah, after that, I've literally just spoken so much, but we went inside the rooms. We were called one by one. Dilipsa was there, Shruti was there, and Shruti tells me that we really want to have you in this film, and it's a yes from us, and rest we'll keep you updated. And then I walk out of the room. This one goes in, and then he walks out, and we both don't say anything. We just look at each other and smile that we got it.
First of all, thank you very much for watching, staying, and thank you, sir. Also, there's someone very special in the audience. Her name is Ananya Gupta. I have received the casting call on a WhatsApp forward by her. So, thank you. I was in my third year computer science engineering. I was doing something in my theatre society. I was happy there. I was giving my all heart into it. Nothing about engineering, and that's when I felt that I should do something about this outside of this college. And I had never auditioned before, and that the girl Ananya Gupta, she shared it in our WhatsApp group, the casting call, which said that the casting director of Life of Pi wants to cast for a new film where they're looking for a boy and a girl aged 18 to 22, but they should look as if they're 16, 17. So one of my friends in that group said that, "Bhai, ये सब scam होता है, पैसे मांगते हैं." I thought, ठीक है, जब पैसे मांगेंगे तब मना कर दूँगा, अब कर देते हैं. And it started with two photographs that my mom clicked. Because I did not know what to submit, what headshots are, what mid shots are. It was a selfie video of me introducing myself. And then one thing led to another. I met her in Bombay. Before that, I'd gone to Delhi for another set of auditions with him. But all throughout, the communication that was there was so encouraging for me as a newcomer. It was the first audition that I'd given. He had his assistant Dushan sir had been on a call with me, and 1 hour he spoke about the project for the first time. And first 45 minutes he was talking about the subject, about the makers, and about the film, and then he introduced Srinivas Ram's character. I read the script. I remember I was on a bus from Jaipur to Mumbai, and I started reading, and I was like, "Oh, this is me." I've stayed outside India. I've come back, and the only thing being, I was also the head boy in my school. But a lot of instances like sleeping and not waking up, scoring less marks, and. So there were a lot of similarities, but I think by the time I read the script multiple times is when I understood that it's not actually me, because Keshav is a much more simple, I have a very simple life, complexities is very less I do, but Srinivas was not like that. His relationship with his parents were a bit different, which I don't want to justify his character, but yeah, things were a bit different. And then I got to Bombay, we had a chemistry test, and yes, we had improv this in the chemistry test, and
Just a quick question. Dylan, what's a chemistry test? Do you all know what a chemistry test is? Yes, let's hear what's a chemistry. Everybody.
Sometimes you like two actors a lot, but when you put them together and you see them on camera. Even in the room, they may look really good together, but on camera, they can turn out to look like brother and sister. Not look, but feel.
How do you make them do stuff?
So you do a set of things. You do some exercises, maybe depending on the director. Shuchi wanted us to do a bit of that, so you do some theatre exercises, and then you gradually start improvising, and you go into a scene or two that you've chosen. And Keshav went through quite a few. Preeti went through a lot of chemistry tests, also with Anila, the mother, lots of those tests. So yeah.
This is a very new kind of terminology I'm hearing, chemistry tests. So because you heard of auditions, but not really. It's an old thing. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you would know.
So I don't know. I'll ask one more question and I'll open it all up. So how was the actual shooting? Did you all rehearse? Did you have workshops together? Did you know your lines? And was Shuchi sort of micromanaging, or did she let you all go? How was the actual shooting? Was it a pleasant experience? Sometimes it can be very very tough. So if you could talk about
It was very pleasant because initially we had some workshops with DIFF sir, and he had taken out the jitters which actors first time getting on projects have. And it was a very internalized acting that we had to do. We had to rely on ourselves, but also surrender, because sometimes as actors when you start out but you really hyper focus on your own performance, that everything lies on my shoulder. I have to prepare my dialogues. I have to be disciplined. But Dilip sir and Shuchi told me that you have to trust the director. You have to trust everyone who's behind the scene. You have to trust the cinematographer. You have to trust the editor. You have to trust the sound recorders. All these people together make the film, and just take off this burden from your shoulders. So I had done a couple of commercials before this film, and every time there would be an action, I would be really nervous. And trying to balance the nervous energy and also to act was very difficult. But in this project, my first shot was the one where I was in the bathroom and I was awkwardly trying to kiss my hand. Such an awkward scene, but I was not feeling any nervousness. And that's also because we achieved a 90% female crew. And I was relaxed. I had my guards down to know that there's a woman behind the camera, there's a woman orchestrating everything, there are female ADs, and I hate to say female ADs, I feel like it should be more inclusive anyway, but there was an editor, and she was going to edit, she was going to look at all the footages, so it made me really relax that whatever I'm doing is not going in the wrong hands. And it was a very close set. We didn't have a lot of people walking in and around and making us feel uncomfortable. So overall, the process was really comfortable. I think I really enjoyed not having thoughts as Preeti. And for 12 hours a day, I was constantly thinking as Meera. So I was really out of myself and enjoying my shoot. It was a 36-day shoot with breaks included, and the only challenge during the shoot was the cold. We were shooting in the mountains and we had summer clothes, so we were all the time fighting cold. We had electric blankets, but they were not helping us out. But we somehow put it together, and with a lot of warm people around, we shot the film. Yeah.
I think for me, if I have to say it in one word, it would be surrendering. My entire process was surrendering first to Dilip sir during his workshops. There was a lot of unlearning to be done because, the collegiate level theatre, you think you know things that you're doing, but that's not, at least even in films, that's not how things work. Then there was surrendering to our lovely director, Suchi ma'am, and to this one in scenes, to Kani Chechi, because so much of it, I cannot take credit of it. It was feeding off their energy, feeding off the DP's energy, the directors, her entire language with actors. we used to have scenes, and just before a shot, our instructions used to come in one word. Yeah, and we did multiple takes. For each scene, we did on an average of 15 takes, and which is, as a new actor, what you think is, oh, one take actor is the one, you know, like you should. There's this pressure that to get it in the first two takes, but we were actually having fun with these takes because each take was different. There was one word being told to me in each take. There was one word also being told to Preeti or Kanichiji when we had a scene and the camera is on me. So I do not know what she's going to say. She could be doing anything. I just have to be very attentive and yeah, like surrender, be in that moment.
Just one question. Was Richa involved at all? Did she come for the shoot? How was her shoot? Ali Fazal, yeah.
Yeah, she was there on shoot, especially the initial few days when we were beginning. And the first 3 days we were shooting in the school with the assembly sequences. So lots and lots of kids and lots of people to handle at once. And they were really supportive. They would stand on stage and be like, they would grab all the attention of the kids so they would not chat and make noise. But also, for the two of us, they made sure that they don't interact much with us. Because Shuchi is very disciplined. She would not let us get distracted by anything. And of course, we would see each other done and for us and be like, wow. So we were not allowed to do that. So they were also not interacting with us. But once the film got over, we connected, and now they're like family, and they are raising us in the industry. Giving us guidance and taking care of us. They're not here, but yeah, their support is really felt.
Yeah, great. So that's really nice to hear. Should we open it out to some questions?
First of all, congratulations on the film. It's beautifully shot and beautifully written. And my question is to the actors. Basically, you read the script before, so you know what's going to happen. And how difficult was it, and what was the process to portray those subtleties when you meet for the first time, because you know what's going to happen in the end. So I just wanted to understand what the process like.
First of all, it's good to have read the whole thing and to have an idea and not to be tricked into doing something which you don't want to do. And well, I'm not sure if I read the script and I was focusing on if it has to be very subtle acting. That's something I realized much later when we workshopped, and I realized it's much internalized. I don't have to focus on my physicality as much. I don't have to focus on rehearsing this and making this a whole theatrics of a performance. I just really have to, when the action, before the action, the real work is before the action, is when you close your eyes and you run the intention behind. So if I'm having a scene with Kani and I'm supposed to be really angry on her, I'll probably just take a line like, I want to kill this woman. And with that heavy line, I'm going to keep saying it in my head. And when the action happens, I have a very subtle and I have a very neutral line. Be like, where's my milkshake? But internally, I'm like, I'm going to kill this woman. Where is my milkshake? That thing will eventually come to your face, but I don't have to think about it. So, and also that's a very important point, because sometimes when we've read the script and we are supposed to perform it, we perform in a way that I know how the scene is going to end, and that gets tricky. So that's where having multiple takes helped, because we let go of this fact that हमें एक ही take में सब कुछ सही करना है. We knew that we have 13 takes to perform this scene in 13 different ways. We don't know which is the right way, but we know there are 13 ways of going about this particular line, or this particular scene, in this particular context. So we really enjoyed that. It was like a play. It was like an exercise that was happening while the cameras were rolling. We just had to block a few things and then say the lines in a different way and go about it. So sometimes we did not know how the scene is ending. Sometimes it would just come as a surprise. Yeah.
Hi, first of all, lovely film, guys. I mean, yeah. So the dialogues were definitely special, but what I loved the most was each frame was speaking something more. So there were a lot of instances of symbolism. So I want to understand that between the script and when you were out shooting, how much of those symbolisms was pre-planned and how was it improv, either by you both or by Shruti? For instance, there was this one scene towards the end where the Anila comes in and she changes the flowers in the vase. The different colors of flowers that Srinivas brings and say Hardik brings. The scene where you're talking to him on this rotating chair, and then you are pre-barricading most of the time, but then when you are very angry and asking questions, you're still. So how much of that was improv? How much was the script ironclad? I want to understand that.
It's always a mix. I mean, I'm speaking from my perspective. Shruti would be able to answer better, and also Jui, because they both had thought about putting this whole film in a 4:3 ratio and certain images. They went to the New York library, public library, researched about certain pictures, they clicked pictures of what they liked, and also to get the whole 90s vibe. The first instance of the flowers, I don't know, maybe Shruti would have thought, but I don't think it was thought out that the colors of flowers are connected to the characters in any way. It was more about Anila being alone and Meera looking at her being alone and observing her in a solo moment. And the second instance where she's rotating in the swing, that was written on the script, and it's brilliant because the way she's written it's also so funny, like an anger expressed, but it's also so funny because she's just spinning around it's how her state of mind is like going again and again. But also when she's trying to confront him, she's trying to be still and trying to hold this anger back. So the swing was, I felt like maybe she thought that the swing is going to symbolize it. Anybody else wants to add to her process? Yeah.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
I watched your film in Mami and I cried. I bawled and I hugged you. And now again, I got my friends and I was really hoping that I could catch the show also and meet them. But even after watching the film for the second time, I still bawled. Especially in the last scene when you just hold your mother and you cry. It summarizes the whole film. And when you were also talking about Suchi being the director and how you as the actors are also surrendering to her craft of filmmaking, which is in 15 takes, I want to know, is there, I as an actor also get emotionally exhausted once I go from, let's say I start from 0 to whatever point, right? So I want to know, was there ever a point for both of you where you were emotionally exhausted and weren't able to do a scene? And if there is any, how did you navigate through that? Yeah.
For me, there definitely was a kind of exhaustion because of my habits in theatre before. What I used to do was I used to have a bit of choreography in my scenes. Of course, because of thanks to the workshop, I did drop a lot of it. But still, there was a sense of okay, this scene I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at her at this specific word when she says that. And almost in the first few days of shooting, I realized that this is not going to work. If I do this, that's because she would right after say that okay, that's planned. Let's not do that. Be in the moment. And then, like I said, the different words, different intention for each scene. But at times, I used to feel that didn't I just repeat what I just did? Wasn't it the same thing that I did? And then. Yeah, I didn't have clarity on that, whether I was repeating the same thing. But then I realized that it's a layer. The one intention before, she's not discarding that entire intention. That becomes a layer to the third scene. The third intention becomes a layer to the fourth. So it's about adding it on top, on top, on top. And when I realized that, and when I stopped thinking about things by myself, I think it started becoming fun, and like she said, like a game of improvisation, and I think actors love improvising, right? So yeah, for me.
Maybe Dilip, you could answer that a bit because it seems to be quite an existential question for an actor. That how do you let go? How does all this emotion play?
I mean, I won't say particular to this film, but I would say to what you said. I feel if you're exhausted and you put that into what you're doing, because that's your reality. And then from that you play off and you find new energy every time. So even though, and it is true that actors' concentration is very tiring. People don't realize how tiring or draining it can be. But when you're creating and performing, and if you are in the moment, and you know it, I'm sure as well as any of us, there's an energy that comes into play that actually lets you do it. So instead of battling your tiredness, it's always helpful to say, okay, I am tired. Now from this tiredness, let me create. And I feel that really helps. It's helpful.
Congratulations for the film that you just presented, and I could see that you were having a tearful moment because it was a beautiful film. Even I cried so much during the whole film because even though it feels like a film, but then it was as if I am Meera in that character, right? And I would love to ask you this question that you just explained how your journey to telling your mom about the whole character and everything. I wish to know that I think if my mother would be here and watching this film, we both would be crying because it was not just about Meera as a child character, but also about the mother being a girl. And I want to know that when your mom watched this film, how was your reaction? I mean, how was your reaction with her? And how did this film really change your relationship with your mother? Because I think if all mothers and daughters on a Mother's Day maybe just watch this film together, we can have better relationships around. So I wish to know what was your mother's reaction to the film that she saw.
It was actually a very practical reaction because it wasn't very emotional or anything. Because along with me, my whole family was also in the journey that film ban rahi hai, abhi film edit ho rahi hai, abhi film aane wali hai, script pad li hai. So when they saw the film, they were also watching it like a crew member. Like, okay, this is what has happened, or this is what Preeti was telling me about. But I would say over the past few years, as a girl, an Indian girl in her early 20s, my coming of age is now. It's not when I was a teenager. A lot of sexual experiences I had right after the film. So I had no idea what I was doing in the film. And when those experiences happened, I think the relation with my mom strengthened. And that's because she's amazing as a parent. She's also growing as a parent, and I could see that. And sometimes I would put that pressure on her that no, you need to accept my sexuality, and I'm a growing woman, and I get to do whatever I want to. But I need to. When I had that conversation with her, I understood that this is her first time also realizing that her daughter is exploring her sexuality, and it can get traumatizing for them as well. And the generation we are coming from, all these topics were not talked about at all. So it's her first time also talking to someone, and I think I mean, the year after the film, we had a discussion and we both cried about me having sex, and. Yeah, it's a beautiful relationship, touch wood. My mother is not anyone close to Anila. Although no hate to Anila, I love her. But she's very different from Anila, and she's very supportive of my growth.
Hi, back here.
Okay.
Congratulations on a great film, guys. This question is for Claire. So as a producer, I mean, I just wanted to understand how this film came about to you, and more importantly, was the film written, the dialogues were in English, and did you ever think that would sort of get in the way of reaching an audience that would possibly want to engage with a film like this, but the channel of communication or the language might get in the way?
I would say that I related to the script a lot because I feel this experience, mother-daughter experience, is something that we live across. And I would say, during the making of the film development, I asked my mom for, I'm so sorry what I put you through when I was a teenager. Yeah, basically I knew that this film was really universal and was already extremely well written, and there was a very strong vision. So I was confident that the film would get funds from France, even if they are quite selected. But for that first round, I was sick to my stomach, waiting for the result, because I was like, if I don't get it, what happened? And yes, I mean, happily things work out.
Thank you. So, as someone who had a convent girls' education, I feel that the entire slut shaming because your nails are painted thing was so real, and I was so glad to see it. I also had the privilege of watching it with my mother. But yeah, so my question is actually towards Kesav's character, which is, what does he want? like initially you sort of presume that this man just likes women a lot and wants multiple women or whatever, but now he's not involved with Anila, and he's consistently lying to Mira's character when he's like, oh, I reached the rooftop, you weren't there, I couldn't wake up, all of that. What drives him according to you?
Chai.
Yeah.
Chai. But I need to just. Is it okay? Yeah. No, I meant I didn't want to paint that my interpretation onto, because I think it's very personal. But I believe for me, it was he really loved Mira, and it was him thinking that, oh, I'm the grown one in the relationship. I know what to do. This one is new, it's her first experience. I'll take care of her. Let me decide on things. So he thought he was on this driving wheel of the relationship, and he thought that keeping Anila happy is the way that they get to meet, because it's 90s, there are restrictions then. That's the only way they get to meet, like the dialogue it says. I don't think at any point he had any ill intentions with the mother, nothing sexual. Then, of course, like I said, his relationship with his parents were not good. He did not get the attention from them, which he craved for. And then there was this motherly age figure who was giving him the attention. So it was a mutual exchange of attention, which probably they both did not get from their respective aged, like daughter and mother. So I saw it that way, and the rest, the film, of course, you thinking that something's happening, but that's because I think it's her eyes, right? You're seeing everything through her eyes, through that 21-year-old mind. So I think that's.
Just a quick follow-up, if he really did have feelings for her, why didn't he stand up for her after the entire thing? Why did he say the pledge?
He's always absent.
Yeah.
Always. Whenever she's stuck anywhere, he's always absent. Be it on the rooftop, be it while taking the pledge, be it when she wants him to be on the terrace, he's always absent.
I think that's the point. Keshav is not Shri. That's why he couldn't answer your question. It's true. And you got the point, and that's it. That's it. Whatever you make of it is what he is. If you objected to him and that he was not clear, I feel that's Shri also. That's Keshav, the actor's interpretation. He had to play it, but it may not be Shri.
And also remember, everybody's coming of age. It is a coming of age, story, not only the girl, but the boy.
One line I would just like to add to that. What really helped me understand Shri more, I think, was he's a boy who thinks he's a man.
That's right.
I think that said a lot to me to understand.
Thank you all so much.